Hey guys, Brandon back again. I want to do a little bit of venting on Rogue Fitness. And you guys know me, I love my Rogue. I've been considered a shill for a long time, but when I see some bullshit, I'm going to call it out. So go ahead and cue the Drake music.
I'm upset.
Now, that being said, a couple of months ago, I did a video on the Rogue MG-4C multi-grip bar, and I got the bougie version, meaning stainless steel sleeves that were 15.5 inches loadable. All sets of angled handles in stainless steel, shipped, delivered to me. It cost like $900. It was an expensive bar. However, I justified that with there was a potential for this bar to be great, meaning that the versatility and things you could do with it could potentially be awesome. Now, I had a couple of nitpicks with it, not so much as I saw from a lot of other people, but two of the main issues that a lot of people called out on this bar were, number one, the width of the frame. So what I mean by that is from top to bottom, the bar measures 10 inches, which is pretty wide when you consider most people's hands are probably like 4 to 5 inches. So double the length. What this means is when you're using the bar, you need to be exactly centered. And even if you are, the bar can be pretty difficult to balance. So that was one of the main issues people called out with this bar. Didn't really have too much of an issue myself personally, but I could see the reasons why people might not like that. My gripe was more with the actual handles themselves. They're 20.5 millimeters. I like a thicker, girthier handle, which a lot of people do for pressing, which is going to be the predominant use case for this bar, even though you can do rows and stuff like that. I think pressing is the most common use case. Thicker handles are usually preferred by a lot of people. So I kind of said that, hey, I expect them to increase this 20.5 millimeters an option some more down the road. Now, when I said down the road, I meant for this particular bar. What I did not mean is for 2 months later to basically come out with a brand new bar that fixed all of the nitpicks that people had. So we now have the Rogue MG-4CN, and I posted this on Instagram, and I kind of made a comment that I guess all the early adopters or the people who bought the initial bar got screwed. And to be honest, a lot of people didn't understand what I was saying. They didn't realize that this was a new bar. They just thought that this was a lower price point, which is not the case. So the pricing on this is exactly the same. The 4CN, which is the narrow multi-grip bar, retails for $425. Additional handles are $45. If I go back to the MG-4C, again, $425, $45 for additional handles. Those prices can differ depending on if you get stainless steel or whatever the case may be. But bar pricing, exactly the same. But what they fixed with this bar were the two main issues people had. So we went from a 10-inch wide frame down to a 7-inch wide one, so very similar to what you'll find in a Kabuki Cadillac bar. And standard handle size went from 28.5 millimeters to 32 millimeters. So they basically took all the feedback they got from the people who bought this bar and said, let's go ahead and fix that and just re-release it immediately after. So typically for a lot of this stuff, you don't see revisions come out this quickly. This is literally like a 2 or 3 month turnaround, which tells me that they probably didn't test this as much as they should. And that's really where my main gripe is. I've talked a lot in my videos about why I prefer Made in USA, and I say one of the benefits is that they can make stuff in-house, test it out, and make changes as needed, whereas a lot of import companies, what happens is they have a design, they get it shipped over in container, which takes several months to do. They get it, and it might not be to spec, or they might not have time to test it because they want to just get this into production and start sending stuff out. And that's another reason why I prefer a lot of Made in USA companies. And typically, Rogue is good about doing this. They don't release something and immediately say, oh, this was a mistake, let me fix it. But it seems to be, to me at least, with a lot of their new specialty bars, they're having a lot of more quality control issues. And in this case, it's a real big design flaw where it literally could have been solved if they just let a couple of people maybe outside of the Rogue mothership test it out and give feedback, because again, almost anyone who's used this bar has that same kind of general input of it's too wide and we'd like some thicker or maybe even more aggressively knurled handles. So this is my problem, right? I get screwed in a sense because I was an early adopter. I wanted the bar as soon as possible and I bought it only to find out that again, it wasn't perfect. Rogue took that feedback from a lot of people and made those changes. And now you can reap the benefits as you can either probably buy someone's original bar who might be selling it in order to upgrade to the better bar, which I will not be doing because I don't use the multi-grip bars for the most part anyways. And I still have my Cadillac bar, so I have 2 multi-grip bars that I don't use now instead of just one. Or the fact that, again, you could have waited to get the best version of the product. And that's typically the route that I suggest for most people when you get things from an import company when it's a new product, I say wait it out a little bit, see how other people give feedback, see if they're going to improve it. A lot of companies like Titan, for instance, are notorious about that. They improve their products over time and they do get better, but the first iteration or generation of a product is usually pretty poor because it's not tested very well. And unfortunately, we're seeing that with Rogue today. So I'm going to shed a tear for myself, get over it, and get back in my basement. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.